fellow marketers, Professor Wolters here, and today we're going to talk about developing your brand strategy. What are those different steps, those 7 steps we should go through in order to develop our brand strategy so we can be a success, we can use that brand, it can give us that guidance, that leadership, this overall feeling of like, hey, I'm part of something. What do we need to do? Okay, and so what we're going to go through is the different steps you should go through to develop your brand strategy. And the thing is, some of these steps I have other videos on that go more in depth. So this is kind of like that overview video so you have an idea of what you should be looking out for. And really, the very first step in developing your brand strategy is really determining your exact short-term and long-term business goals, as that's going to be your drivers of your brand vision. So if my company today is seen as like, oh, it's a cheap car company, it makes crappy cars, but I know long-term I want to be seen as a fancy car company. Okay, so if that's what I want my brand to be, what are going to be the steps to get there? What do I need to do to get there? Can you change somebody's mind overnight about a product? No, it takes time. That's why you look at short-term and long-term. So what are the short-term things I can do? Oh, I can start designing better looking cars. I can start maybe giving them longer warranties and guarantees. I can start making better cars. Then over time, people will see it differently. Yeah. But the thing is, you have to have an overall idea of what your business is doing. Okay, where do you want to go? And how are you going to create value today in the short term and in the long term to get that idea that that kind of value you're creating goes with your brand? Because the thing is, if you don't have a business strategy overall, your brand will never be a success, because you need to make sure is that that business strategy, your brand strategy falls along with it. Because I can't have a business strategy of being a cheap, crappy car company and then have a brand that makes it look like it's fancy. It doesn't work. That's a ticket to failure. It doesn't match up. So you need to make sure they match up, because that business strategy really tells us when we're going to commit, what we're going to commit towards, and therefore we can see is like, look, our business is about selling better cars. We want to make our brand to look like a better car. What are those steps along the way? That's why short and long-term business strategy and business goals are vital to develop your brand strategy. Now, the second thing you need to do is conduct a stakeholder analysis. Like, go out and ask the stakeholders in your business, your organization, your community, what does your company, what does your brand mean to them? Because you can determine, like, who are those key stakeholders? Who's going to make a difference? Who are the people that really matters to? And it really helps you to understand is, who do we need to win over to get people to believe that our car company is making better cars? What do we need to do? Well, maybe our workers need to believe in them. I've got to talk to workers why it's important to make better cars. And then maybe we need to talk to the community we're in. It's like, hey, look, we're not a cheap car company. What do we need for you that you're going to want to buy cars made in your own community? We can talk to them about this. But also you have to think about it, who influences what's perceived as a good car, a bad car. Oh, do we need to make sure we win some JD Power Awards for quality and stuff like that? What are those things? What are the key who are the key stakeholders? But also, what are the things that those key stakeholders are really looking for, and have a better understanding of that when you're developing your brand. And the thing is, within your business, if you want your brand to really be kind of bought into by everybody in your business, you got to make sure you bring them in. Hey, look, we want everybody to be a part of this brand development, so we're all working for this together. It's not one day you say, now we are quality job one. Like, whoa, where'd that come from? Like, oh, we've been talking about that so people kind of understand it better. That's why it's really important to be communicating what your brand is. Quality is job one. Quality is job one. Quality is job one. So everybody in there, from the janitor to the CEO, is all trying to work towards that quality is job one. Now, your next step, you need to start segmenting your clients. And what we're going to do here is we're going to develop customer segmentation with kind of a perspective on our competition and just the segment economics and all these kind of things. So what I basically mean is when you usually think about segmentation, you think, oh, you're thinking like old, young, West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, regional stuff, demographics, this kind of stuff. When it comes to your brand, we're going to look at something very different. We might look on potential profitability. We might look at the mental aspect that people have, who identifies with our brand. There's a lot of different things we could go for. We could look at maybe segment growth, or maybe we look at segment behavior. I mean, think about it. If we look at, there's people that buy certain things certain times of the year. We see, hey, there's the people that only buy at this time of the year, but there's the people that buy all year round. Aha, I see what we're going to do. We could have our brand for our clothing company. We have our brand that sells clothes all over the year, and there's that. But also, we know there's the people that only buy for graduation, and we can have a brand that tailors towards them, because we see that segment behavior is different, and so we can tailor to that. Other things we might look at in terms of our different segments, it might be prices. what people are willing to pay or how people value what we're doing. So that could be another way we can do it. Another way you could segment your market, it might be service requirements. I mean, think about it. The airline industry, you have the full service airlines. You get bags and you get, food and you get, the toilet and you get the lounge and you have that. And there's other ones like, oh, hey, just get on the plane. There's nothing fancy about it. There's two different service requirements they might be segmenting their market at. So there's a lot of difference. It's not just the old school demographic segmentation stuff. There's a lot more that goes into it, okay? And so from the third step of developing that customer segmentation based on more than just demographics is you're looking at developing your brand vision. And your brand vision is the mission statement for your brand. Like, what is it that your brand stands for? No matter what product you make, if we put that Sony label on it, well, people know that what it's going to get. What are you going to get when you get a Sony label? Well, it's going to be a little bit pricier. It's going to be better than average. It's going to be a good electronics, right? Like there's certain things that go along with that. And so we want to make sure it's like, let's have a vision, a brand vision that everybody's going to follow no matter what Sony product we make. And when you're developing that brand vision, it's got to be relevant. It's got to mean something to people, but also it helps build support for your brand. We know what this brand stands for. There's a reason why people line up outside the Apple stores when a new Apple product comes out, because the brand vision overall is, hey, it's going to be cool, it's going to be well designed, it's going to be consumer friendly, it's going to make them happy, they're going to enjoy this, it's going to be cool. We know that's what we're going to get. That's the brand vision. It doesn't matter if it's a watch, if it's a phone, if it's a computer, whatever, if it's got an Apple logo on it, that brand vision really gets you to want to enjoy it. Because really, your brand vision transcends your products, your company, your people. It's all encompassing. It just kind of goes with it. And I have another video that goes into that brand vision, so we have more stuff for that. Now, the next step we're looking at is developing your brand promises. Now, your brand vision is this overall kind of big idea kind of stuff. The brand promises are the actual things that happen. Like, hey, what is it I expect to happen when I drink a Coca-Cola? Like every time I drink a Coke, it's going to be cold. It's going to have that burn in the back of my mouth. It's going to have a specific flavor, right? I know what I'm going to get. You have that. So you got to develop those brand promises because these are tangible things that customer value. Like, why is it no matter, you can make fun of McDonald's all you want, but when you're on a road trip, you still drive through McDonald's. Why? I know what I'm going to get. It's going to be, the fries are going to be good. The burger's going to be acceptable. I know it's going to be fast. I know what I'm going to get. It's not like, oh, what is the big fatty burger? Like, what comes in that? I don't know what it is, but I know what a Big Mac is. I have that. They deliver on that promise. So have those brand promises. There's so much in brand promises. Just watch the brand promise video to help you understand these kind of things. Now, another thing you need to do is really develop, the sixth step is develop your brand positioning and your identity and the associated images that go along with it. So if I want my, Mark's Cafe, right? Mark's All-American Cafe. So if I say Mark's All-American Cafe, what do you expect to see? Well, there's going to have the black and white checkerboard on the floor. There's got to be a hamburger on there, right? You got to have there's going to be a Statue of Liberty somewhere, an Empire State Building someplace, maybe a cowboy hat someplace. There's certain images that go along with that all-American place, right? And so you have that. And so you kind of think about what are all the things I need to do to position that brand that way. So if I want to be seen as a luxury brand, what do I do? Well, we look at the people we hire, the actors we have, the stores we sell in. All that will go into there, okay? And we have another video that goes on brand positioning. Watch that video for much more in depth for that. And then we get into our seventh part, and that is developing those brand promises, but also developing a delivery mechanism for them, okay? I know when I used to work with companies and we would develop brand books for them and we would tell them what everything meant. Why do we use this color scheme? Why do we use this text scheme? How should that customer experience be when you come in the store? Why is it when you're at McDonald's, you go through the drive-thru, they make sure that they say, hey, is your order correct on the screen? Let me read it back to you. Why? Because they want to make sure they're delivering a specific type of service, that you don't miss something out in your delivery order. Because the thing is, we don't want to make promises that we can't keep. So we want to make sure everybody's delivering that same kind of promise over and over again. And this is one thing I've seen when brands have overexpanded, when they expanded too quickly, sometimes that core brand promise wasn't there anymore. I mean, I love Culver's. Anybody that watched they know I love Culver's. But a few years ago, I had to take a step back from Culver's. They had expanded so much that I was going to Culver restaurants. I'm like, have y'all ever been to a Culver's? Because this is not Culver's service. Like, this isn't the promise that I'm used to getting when I go to a Culver's. And so that's why it's really important you lay it out there. This is what a Culver experience is. You need to make sure, hey, how are you? Welcome to Culver's. Take their order. And when you deliver to the table, ask them if they need anything. Bring some extra napkins in case they want it. If you see they don't have ketchup, ask, do you need some ketchup? Maybe some mayo? This is what you need to have. And you really lay it out there. And the thing is, you lay it out there so everyone's on the same page. And you don't want to be really ambiguous with things. Because if I say, no, give really good customer service. What is really good customer service? What does that mean to you? It might be different for you than for me. So maybe you lay it out there. Hey, look, you go by the tables every 3 minutes. If the soda glasses are half or less, fill it up for them anyway, right? And so you have certain things that kind of make sure we're delivering that good customer service. You're putting it out there for them. So make sure you're describing that service, what it means, what you should be doing, all kinds of stuff. And I've got all kinds of fun stories of people that weren't quite in the know of what good customer service meant when they worked someplace. So I could talk about it some other time, but it is pretty funny. Anyway, so these are kind of like the steps you would take in order to develop that brand strategy. So you have all these things kind of put together. So when you go out in the market and you have that product, you're delivering right away. Okay, so I hope this helps you understand better how to develop a brand strategy. Again, those other videos on brand vision, brand promise, this kind of stuff, positioning, watch those videos for much more in-depth talks about those, because those will be really helpful. And I wish you a great day. Bye.